coming back to you from the 2014 Northwest Regional in Seattle, Washington. We're about to start the finals between Randy Kwa and Tony Chung, our Inanimate and Chinese dude. Both Canadian players today.
Yeah, this is a rematch of the Canadian Nationals from 2 years ago.
The one and only Canadian Nationals.
The one and only Canadian, yes.
So this is the unofficial Canadian tournament now. Maybe it shows that Canada still deserves a couple tournaments when their players can come down and get to the finals of the American Regional.
All right, once again, we're seeing Randy's Blastoise, Venusaur, Scissor, a Moody Smeargle, Garchomp, and Rotom Heat. And Tony has, remind me.
So for Tony, we have Gengar, Scissor, Gyarados, Staraptor, Rotom, and Raichu. That Rotom and Raichu combination that earlier made good work of Jason Winya.
That was I really like Tony's team here. It's very chess-like.
Yeah, it's
one of the most chess-like
definitely very
teams.
interesting. There's so many options with Perish Song and with Disables and Encores and Final Gambits. There's a lot of cool things he can do.
A lot of tricks up his sleeve.
Yeah, Randy definitely has tricks too with his Dark Void Smeargle. Maybe we'll finally see a Dark Void with Randy's third match here on stream today.
Oh yeah, it's a little more straightforward though, but Tony's team has so many twists and turns. You can easily get lost, even if you're an experienced player.
Definitely, you can make one wrong move and suddenly you're Shadow Tag locked and getting disabled, and I mean, it can definitely quickly halt any momentum you had if you take one slip into one of Tony's strategies.
Yeah. One wrong turn and you're dead, basically. Okay. Tony brings out his Raichu and Rotom. I believe we've seen before, haven't we?
Yes, definitely. Randy leads his Smeargle and Blastoise. Lots of possible fake outs in the field. We'll see how the players choose to handle that.
Both his Smeargle and Blastoise do have fake out, don't they?
We haven't actually seen fake out from the Blastoise yet, and we've revealed Ice Beam, Water Spout. Actually, we've revealed the entire moveset on stream here. Water Spout, Ice Beam, Aura Sphere, and Protect. So we do know now that it does not have fake out.
I see.
Conversely, we have seen both fake out on both Smeargle and Raichu, so we still do have those fake outs to worry about.
So it looks like we'll be exchanging fake outs here.
Well, Smeargle has to be careful to fake out because it could quickly get Encored. We've seen the Encore from Raichu. It's definitely faster than Smeargle, and so we'll see how Randy handles that. Breaks the Sash there on Smeargle, gets the fake out. Smeargle couldn't risk the King Shield because it would get Encored, but losing its Focus Sash definitely.
Raichu getting a nice light special attack boost from his partner. Rotom moving first before Blastoise and weakening his Water Spout and paralyzing the boot. In fact, it's not even moving this turn.
Yeah, and Smeargle gets evasiveness. This may turn into an interesting game very quickly.
It's good. If Randy gets lucky here and his Smeargle dodges both moves before, he might actually get a Dark Void off.
Yeah, Blastoise is definitely threatened by both his Raichu and Rotom, but if he can get them asleep, he can still do decent damage with that Water Spout, even with some reduced health.
Now, we know Tony's Rotom has Substitute. You think he might try to get a Substitute up in time to block Dark Void.
Right.
Even though that Rotom is slower than Smeargle, if Smeargle is unlucky, Tony can put himself into a very solid position turn 2.
Oh,
and his Smeargle does get lucky.
Gets the double sleep with Dark Void. Raichu and Rotom will be out of commission for at least a little bit now, and Garchomp will be threatening them immediately.
That's right. Now Garchomp does have the upper hand.
Some more Moody boosts coming in. Ooh, accuracy to not miss anymore.
That's right.
A little bit less evasiveness.
A little, but with the accuracy boost, Dark Void is missing now. But that's not too much of an issue because both Tony's combatants are asleep at the moment. So now Tony might have something in the back that can capitalize on it. That can capitalize this, especially since Randy just switched out a Smeargle.
Yeah, losing that evasiveness boost and those accuracy boosts, but wants to do as much damage as he can while Tony's Pokemon are sleeping before they get back up.
Here comes a Rock Slide. Raichu takes 30 damage, but
Good damage to both Pokemon. Definitely not something that Tony wants to happen too many more times before he wakes up.
yeah. Now, we know the Raichu does not have Hidden Power Ice, so it won't be threatening that Garchomp anytime soon.
No, it won't. Rotom does have the Will-O-Wisp if it manages to wake up, so and obviously the Overheat for Scissor too, so that's probably what Randy wants to prioritize getting knocked out.
Yeah, I think Tony feels his best course of action is just to let his Pokemon stay in and just try to wake up.
Right. Risking any switch is going to get damage on Pokemon in the back, while just saving these sleeping Pokemon, they're going to be in the same position later.
Exactly. With Raichu asleep, I mean that's one of his most important support Pokemon. He can't afford to leave it sleeping, and he can't afford to switch in something to take a hit.
Yeah, it's definitely a tough place to be in. Oh, an Earthquake. Randy's just decided to take out this Raichu immediately before giving it the chance to wake up. And so, knockout scored there for Randy. And Rotom wakes up,
But
gets the Will-O-Wisp on Garchomp. That's very big for Tony. Won't have to worry nearly
will
as much
have a
about that
Lum.
Rock Slide.
Oh, Garchomp does have a Lumberry.
And so that Burn's not going to do anything for now, but at least the Lum is gone
Yeah.
if Tony gets another chance at that Will-O-Wisp.
Tony does have a chance to burn Garchomp again. Rotom is quite bulky. He just got an Intimidate attack drop on his Garchomp, on Randy's Garchomp.
And a Scissor. That was a very good Intimidate for Tony.
And that Rotom just keeps recovering HP. It has a lot of staying power.
Yeah, it definitely does. We saw that in the match with Jason, where Rotom stayed on the field for nearly enough time to hold the entire timer down.
Oh, this is quite an interesting match, Len. We've seen the advantage just swing back and forth so quickly.
Yeah, that getting things asleep, but then having them wake up quickly can do that. Where you, while you're sleeping, you definitely feel the player who put them to sleep is at a big advantage, but when they wake up, they're still a big threat. So Garchomp switching out here to get rid of the Intimidate instead of opting for 2 super effective Rock Slides.
Looks like Randy might be trying to sacrifice Smeargle, but if Tony tries to simply burn Smeargle here, it now has another chance to put Tony's Pokemon to sleep. But no. He gets the Dragon Dance.
Smeargle won't be knocked out immediately, but now it will be slower than that Gyarados, unless it gets a Moody Speed Boost here.
That's true.
Moody Boosts always can make a big difference.
Yeah, if Smeargle gets lucky again. And it
does! The
does!
speed! Wow. That's huge for Randy.
Wow.
Definitely not the boost Tony wanted to see come down from Moody there. Going to protect that Blastoise too by putting things to sleep. Otherwise, it was going to be under threat.
Even if he puts Gyarados back to sleep, what else? What can he do to Gyarados?
Commonly, we do see DD Gyarados is carrying Lum too, so that might not even be able to have the sleep stick.
Maybe not. I mean, we do know Tony's main Mega is Gengar and not Gyarados.
So now Rotom's asleep, getting a little more burn damage on Smeargle, a couple turns from being knocked out from that burn. See another Moody Boost come down. Special attack and attack. Completely irrelevant Moody there. After the last very important one, it's nice to see one that...
The Blastoise might knock out Rotom with a lucky hit.
Definitely. Water Spout, Blastoise is taking some damage, but not enough to completely weaken that Water Spout. It'll still do a lot of damage.
Although Gyarados may have Earthquake, which will do considerable damage to Blastoise. Oh, no, that Smeargle is still faster.
Well, at +2 speed, you would expect it to be.
Of course.
Now we'll see if Gyarados has any. No Lum, and so lots of sleeping Pokemon. Oh, but Rotom only sleeps for 1 turn, gets the sub, cannot be put back to sleep now, and we'll have the chance to...
Not unless Blastoise hits... Oh, no, it targets... It's decided to target Gyarados rather than Water Spout, do some damage. So Tony's still in a good position. Smeargle can't do anything to him.
Right,
and now he can threaten Blastoise.
That burn's going to going to take out Smeargle, even if all Tony opts to do is just protect for a turn.
This is one of the downsides of Smeargle. You don't necessarily you have to switch it out to capitalize on offensive pressure, and in that moment your opponent might just get a lucky one-turn sleep.
Right, and that's where a lot of players find the luck that Dark Void brings into the game as a negative, because between the accuracy and those chances for long sleeps and short sleeps, a lot of luck comes in the game.
But no. He redirects attacks. Smeargle redirects attacks to follow me. Redirecting... Oh, but no, he cannot redirect Rotom's Discharge, which is a spread move. And Tony opts to KO his own Gyarados.
Yeah, it's an interesting play. Gyarados was definitely hurting his momentum by sleeping on the field. Maybe he felt that just getting another lively Pokemon in is better than a sleep.
Perhaps, so Gyarados is probably one of the most valuable Pokemon he had on the field.
Right, but without getting that Discharge, he was going to have to go to -2 special attack and only choose one of Randy's to knock out. And he would not be able to do very much damage to Blastoise, and Blastoise was going to continue to Ice Beam Gyarados. I think it was a strong play to just realize that Gyarados was a lost cause.
I don't think so.
There.
He could have switched out Gyarados. It was maybe one turn away from waking up, and then come in later to intimidate that Garchomp.
Yeah, but he would have risked paralyzing his own Gengar, which would have really been harmful.
That is fair enough. He opted to go for the safer play.
Now we'll have a chance, now that Lum is gone, to get another Will-O-Wisp on Garchomp and weaken it, while Blastoise paralyzed and not much health to get a Water Spout off for serious damage now.
Tony is opting to go Mega with his Gengar, which is something of an odd choice.
Yeah, he got rid of his Levitate there.
That is exactly why. Perhaps he should have stayed in normal form for a while. He would have at least been immune to Earthquake, but it seems like Randy's going for the Rock Slide anyway, so
yeah,
I decided it wasn't worth it.
Randy knows he needs to not only get damage on that Gengar, but also get get damage on the Garchomp before it gets burnt. But then he was able to dodge the burn, take an Aura Sphere. Now things have definitely changed here as
Rotom is.
I'm not sure he'll be able to take another Rock Slide.
In a very vulnerable position. No, it will likely be KO'd by the next one. If not, then, and if not KO'd, then 30% chance of flinch.
Tony opted to protect Gengar there on something that ended up not being targeted hardly at all. The Rock Slide came for it, but it wasn't really the main target of that Rock Slide.
No.
If he'd instead done this and knocked out Blastoise last turn, he would have prevented that Aura Sphere going on to Rotom.
Randy's not taking a risk, going for KO with Dragon Claw, which may have KO'd even without that critical hit.
Yeah, I think it probably would have. We can't know for sure, but Rotom wasn't at great health anymore, so wouldn't have been surprised to see that.
And Randy reveals he still has a second Pokemon in the back.
And now we definitely see the weak point of Mega Evolving this Gengar. It's definitely vulnerable to the Earthquake now.
Not that it helped.
Yeah, it didn't do any good Mega Evolving, and now he can't knock out this Garchomp before letting it get an Earthquake off. He's gonna have a hard time.
He couldn't even use Perish Song because Gengar is one of the fastest Pokemon in the field. It would faint first, and
crit Bullet Punch there. I don't think it matters because this Earthquake was coming in, or Dragon Claw, either way.
It's well played by Tony and Randy, but the win goes to Randy on this one.
Yeah. So now I think Tony's going to have to make some adjustments to deal with that Smeargle. It was definitely powerful.
I think his main adjustment is to get a little luckier.
Yeah, that may be the case. The Moody boosts definitely were hugely beneficial for Randy, and if those Moody boosts hadn't gone that way, Tony may have pulled that game out.
Well, let's see.
Again, the big choice for Randy in these games is which of his Mega Pokemon to bring. He has two. We've seen him bring Blastoise in the last few games, but Venusaur is always a good option.
I'd like to see Tony bring Gengar as a possible way to deal with Smeargle because it can at least disable Dark Void
Yes,
before
but
it moves.
it has to bait out a Dark Void first, and so that's a kind of a
Which is
delicate
true.
mind game where,
Especially since that Smeargle has Follow Me.
right, has Follow Me, has Fake Out, has other things it can do, and if you protect on the turn, you expect it to Dark Void and to disable it, and you aren't right, then you won't be able to use that Protect next turn, and you probably will get put to sleep. And you're allowing another Moody boost that may be helpful. So
One thing's for sure, Tony might have an uphill battle here if Randy continues to get lucky.
Oh, and Randy has changed things up. He's brought Venusaur instead of Blastoise. With all the electric types Tony has, I don't find that surprising.
That Venusaur is seems to be a pretty good lead against against Tony's. Raichu offensively can't do anything to Venusaur, and its support moves might be of little use here.
And Gyarados can't really do anything to it either. Even with its Ice Fang, once Venusaur uses his Mega Evolution, it will have Thick Fat and not take much damage from that Ice Fang either.
Yeah, there is little Raichu can do to slow down Venusaur beyond the first turn.
Yeah. We're probably going to have to see Tony go to one of his reserves to handle his Venusaur and quickly before allowing it to do too much to the Raichu and Gyarados. But in first place, goes for a Fake Out here and keeps Venusaur from doing anything for this turn, while getting a Dragon Dance.
Yes, and we know this Gyarados does not have Lumberry, so he can't hope to have that one-turn barrier against it. So now Randy is using his U-turn out to get a free switch in for one of his back Pokemon.
Get out of that Intimidate also,
That's true.
while getting important damage on that Raichu. Strong move. What we expected to see.
Here
probably.
comes the dreaded Smeargle.
And now it does get a Moody boost by coming in at the end of this turn, so we'll see what those are.
But not a speed boost.
Oh, and an accuracy drop. It's going to be very hard to hit a Dark Void now.
That's true. In fact, I wonder if Randy might try to switch out Smeargle, or maybe he'll just use Follow Me.
Yeah. But Following Me now is Venusaur's not really under as much threat, and so Smeargle's probably the target anyway. And so Following Me just to take attacks he was going to take anyway is...
Very good point. So Randy might reveal his fourth Pokemon by switching out Smeargle to save it for another point.
Save it when it can be more useful. Doesn't have that very bad accuracy drop. But no, he hasn't decided to switch it yet. You see the double protect from Tony.
To avoid the Fake Out.
Yeah, to avoid the Fake Out. That may have just been a one turn. See
That
if he can
might-
get another Moody to counteract that. Oh, and there we go.
Okay, that brings, with this accuracy boost, Dark Void becomes 100% accurate.
Yeah, it doesn't take much extra accuracy. Dark Void starts at fairly accurate at 80%.
But Gyarados and Raichu are still faster and can KO it. However, Raichu is likely to be KO'd
Now, the
by
other
Venusaur
thing
at this point.
is Smeargle used Fake Out last turn, and if it opts for Dark Void, it would have gotten Encore first, so he has to Follow Me here just because this Encore is incoming, and he doesn't want to get stuck using Fake Out over and over again.
Yeah. Now, do we know if the Smeargle had Protect at all?
We've seen King Shield,
King Shield, I see.
so Protect alternative that allows statuses but gives minus attack if someone hits into it.
Yes, he would have been locked in the King Shield because of Raichu's Encore.
Yeah.
Wow.
Or locked into Fake Out if he not protected. He was going to get stuck doing something there, and he decided that stuck using Follow Me and keeping Venusaur safe was better. Stuck doing something that did nothing at all.
Now, what I've always found it rather curious that more people focus on using King Shield rather than, say, Spiky Shield or just Protect.
Yes. I mean, Spiky Shields definitely has an advantage over Protect. It does everything Protect does and a tiny bit more.
And damage on contact moves. And since Smeargle is mostly a support Pokemon, it's often threatened by Taunt.
Yeah, and so being vulnerable, we saw the advantage that PBB gained by getting Smeargle burnt through King Shield last round.
So Spiky Shield might be something.
Oh, now we see the
consider.
Waterfall after Dragon Dance knocking out the Smeargle as Staraptor comes in to threaten that Venusaur, and we do see Tony's answer to that Mega Venusaur.
No.
Yep.
Gyarados reveals its Citrus Berry. It's been poisoned by Venusaur and putting it on the clock. However, Staraptor threatens Venusaur pretty handily.
Yeah, it
and
does. We'll definitely expect to see some kind of Brave Bird or maybe a Final Gambit, but probably just the Brave Bird out of Staraptor.
Now, I am not sure Scissor will actually be KO'd here by Waterfall, but it'll still surely take a lot of damage.
Yeah, definitely, but Scissor has pretty high defense. I think it can survive it, and Randy has to be prioritizing knocking out that Staraptor before it's able to knock out his Venusaur, because his Venusaur handles the rest of Tony's team so well, so far we've seen.
Now, we've seen this round. Randy has a Venusaur, a Scissor. I can't remember the third.
So from Randy, we've seen the Venusaur, the Scissor, the
Garchomp.
yeah, Garchomp, which we had not seen yet, and then the Smeargle.
I think Randy might be trying to get Tony to KO his own Staraptor through Brave Bird Recoil by switching in Garchomp.
But it's ineffective, and
But no, he also
Staraptor leaves the field before any more damage can be done to it to come back in and threaten Venusaur later in the game.
Yeah, I do think it was an odd choice for Tony to not target with Brave Bird, but maybe he was predicting here. This is an interesting prediction on his part.
Well, it definitely worked out for him. He kept Staraptor in fairly good health and got that Scissor knocked out. Staraptor's also going to be able to come in and get another Intimidate on that Garchomp if it needs to. So we definitely see a Tony advantage here. The only barrier to Tony right now is Venusaur. It is capable of taking on games by itself.
And Gyarados' Ice Fang takes out Garchomp in one hit. It is no threat. Tony has eliminated that threat pretty decisively.
Yeah, and now he's definitely going to have a hard time dealing with that Staraptor with no Pokemon but Venusaur.
I think the second game goes to Tony.
Yeah, most likely. It'll just be a formality at this point as Tony delivers a couple more moves. Now, Staraptor is low enough health that it will be in very bad health after a Brave Bird if somehow Venusaur does survive it. If Venusaur can heal some way after that, it might not be over yet.
Maybe if it had synthesis, but I have some doubts that it will be able to survive a combination Thunderbolt and Brave Bird.
Now, we do know this is final game at Staraptor, meaning it probably is mostly based on its HP stat and not its attack stat, and so it is able to survive.
There is just enough damage on that Venusaur that it might actually survive. However,
Yes.
Tony's turn, Volt Switch, and reveals his fourth Pokemon, which is a Scissor. And Mega Venusaur is going to have
Lots of health, but not enough to take another Brave Bird, and so
No.
that's going to be most likely the end of the game. Maybe Randy was hoping there that Staraptor would knock itself out through the recoil from Brave Bird, and then he would
Definitely.
be at good health and not have to deal with this Staraptor anymore. But now another Brave Bird comes down, and
that's the game. So we go on to a game 3 between Tony and Randy.
so now in game 3, it's Randy that's gonna have to make adjustments after that pretty convincing win by Tony. He's picked Blastoise in game 1 and Venusaur in game 2. Neither has actually been very helpful for him so far. Venusaur at the early game seemed to be very effective, but when it came down to that Staraptor, it just couldn't hold up. Again, Randy's gonna have to choose which of these and which mode to go with here.
I still think that Randy's Mega Venusaur is a very strong option depending on its moveset. If it has Sleep Powder, it might be it's a sturdier support option than Smeargle at causing sleeps, but maybe he's decided to...
Well, and we've actually revealed the full moveset on stream now.
Okay.
Of Synthesis, Protect, Sludge Bomb, and Giga Drain.
I see.
So we know that it does not have sleep powder. With the Dark Void already on his roster, Randy probably felt he didn't need an additional sleep.
Of course.
And prioritized having an ability a way for Venusaur to heal itself over the extra sleep. Yeah, if definitely Venusaur can still be a huge key to this game with its ability to take on Gyarados and Raichu if it can Randy's able to knock out that Staraptor. So maybe we'll see Randy use his Rotom H would be pretty helpful in taking down Staraptor. So
I'm not sure if Tony will even be bringing Raichu this game.
No, after how badly Raichu went for him last game, I really wouldn't expect him to.
We've seen him in his past battles that Raichu is a great support option, but in these matches against Randy, most of his support moves have not been able. He's not been able to put them to great use.
No, now we see completely different leads from both players here. The Staraptor coming out along with the Mega Gengar.
Well, the Smeargle is quite familiar.
Well, and the Smeargle is quite familiar. We haven't seen it paired with that Rotom Heat yet, so we're gonna. Rotom Heat definitely is a good matchup with that Staraptor, and Tony will probably opt to U-turn it out if he can. But again, Fake Out can prevent that U-turn, so it's going to be another delicate mind game in this turn 1 of how to get this Staraptor off the field safely, but still maybe doing some chip damage, breaking Smeargle Sash if he can.
Randy's Rotom does have Thunderbolt, doesn't it? So if he opts to fit, and we know Tony's Staraptor is Choice Scarfed and does not have Protect. If Tony fakes out Staraptor and does not retreat, Rotom can take it out first turn, but that's not what's happening. Randy has opted to switch out Rotom for Garchomp, and Tony has Mega evolved his Gengar. Staraptor stays in.
It's definitely interesting. Not really what I expect from either player. In this final game, it come down. It would have knocked out Rotom H, but it also had left himself vulnerable to a Fake Out and a Thunderbolt. So Tony won that prediction there. As both players go to 3-3, and we've seen the effect that can have, and another accuracy boost for Smeargle here.
Now we know. Now, as we speculated for Game 2, that Tony might be bringing Gengar to disable his Dark Void, or at least prevent it from using Dark Void with the threat of disable. For a turn. Might work for a turn.
Both players still choosing which to bring in now. Neither knows what to expect the other to bring in. So most of the time when you're bringing in a Pokemon after a knockout, you have some idea of what you're up against, and slightly different situation here as they both have to bring in a little bit blindly. And so Tony did opt to bring his Raichu after all, and Randy brings in that Blastoise. So two interesting things we didn't really expect out of the team preview.
I think we might expect an interesting prediction game this turn. Randy might choose to follow me with Smeargle in anticipation of the disable, but Tony, anticipating this, might use Perish Song.
And Raichu fakes out Blastoise, keeping it from getting off anything this turn, and does get the Follow Me off. We'll see what Gengar's going to do.
And no, Tony falls for it and disables Follow Me. Smeargle is now free to use Dark Void again. His Gengar's Shadow Ball can't hit Smeargle because it's a normal type. So,
but he can definitely opt for the Sludge Bomb if he has it.
He doesn't. Okay.
And so yeah, that will be difficult for Gengar to take on Smeargle. It's interesting. If he had faked out Smeargle last turn, it would have stopped the Follow Me, and would have allowed him to break the Sash and get the disable the way he wanted it. But it would have allowed a Water Spout, which he couldn't let that happen.
It looks like Tony opts to deal some damage to Blastoise, fairly considerable, almost half. And now Tony locks Smeargle into the disable Follow Me. It is now useless and is forced to switch out, or will have to struggle.
It'll be forced to struggle because of the Shadow Tag. It cannot switch out. And
So
it's
even
completely rendered Smeargle useless and will just knock itself out in a series of a few turns. And now he's free to take on this Blastoise that can't switch out either and will be vulnerable to Volt switches.
Good choice by Tony to bring in Gengar this time. Now he's allowed. Now he can use Raichu to its full potential.
Definitely. And now a Shadow Ball to Blastoise and a Volt Switch to Blastoise, and it's knocked out, while Smeargle will have a struggle oncoming.
And Smeargle is stuck in, and it doesn't have many options left to switch to escape its Encore and Disable.
Yeah, even if he's able to break this lock of Gengar, soon he won't have any Pokemon to get out to anyway.
Smeargle hits Gengar with struggle for 1 damage.
And then takes 25% of its own health back. A speed drop there.
And breaking its own sash. So now Gyarados is in a good position to Dragon Dance. If
this Discharge doesn't come, because Discharge or Thunderbolt would be definitely powerful for Randy.
But Tony opts to switch Raichu back in.
Expecting the Thunderbolt coming in for the immunity, but Randy is one step ahead, gets the Overheat onto Gengar for the knockout.
Didn't it just move before that Gengar?
It did.
That might be a Scarf Rotom.
So we have a Scarf Rotom. Another struggle here, do a little bit of damage to that Smeargle, and get recoil back onto...
A lot of damage to that Smeargle, and
a little bit of damage on the Raichu.
Nothing to that Raichu.
So some evasiveness. If that Disable ends, he's able to follow me with some evasiveness. Even this -2 Rotom can do a lot if Tony can't do anything.
I believe Encore, he can continue to lock him into that Disable follow me.
He can continue to Encore it, but if the Disable wears off, he'll be able to follow me, preventing any damage to the Rotom.
I think that is the least of Tony's worries at this point. That Rotom is locked into Overheat. Tony can freely have his Gyarados Dragon Dance.
Right. I mean, definitely if Tony's able to hit any of those waterfalls after Dragon Dances, they're going to be potent. But if they all hit into the evasiveness, follow me, and miss, that's still Randy's one way back out of this.
I think Randy's last hope here was the hope that Overheat would KO that Raichu before it could Encore.
Encored into a choice locked attack anyway.
And was that perhaps a misclick?
Doesn't matter much anyway, as we're down to the Smeargle that we know its only damaging move is Fake Out, and so even though it will put both to sleep here, it has no chance of actually doing anything useful.
So, very well played series, but it looks like our champion is Tony.
Yeah. Just a formality at this point is we'll have to wait for one of these Pokemon to wake up for Tony to actually deliver the final blow. Evasiveness goes down, so we won't maybe have to wait for so many attacks to go.
I think Randy might timer stall out for kick. Nope, he's forfeiting.
There we go. Doesn't want to force us to all watch a few turns of sleeping Pokemon, and does end the game. So congratulations to Tony.
Well played by Randy, and very well played by Tony. Congratulations.
And so Tony won when they played in the finals of that Canadian Nationals, and again, Tony wins here. Randy has to be hoping to someday get the better of Tony in one of these important matches.
Someday.
Well, thank you for joining us. This was the 2014 Northwest Regional in Seattle, Washington. Tony Chung, Chinese dude, is your champion, and Randy Kwa, our Inanimate, your runner-up.